Hello and welcome to the Elden Ring podcast, the only podcast where we talk about Elden Ring all day, every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the newest lore, the latest guides. Let's fucking go, boys. Just this
Is your audio working this time?
Yeah, it is. Don't worry, everything's fine. My name is Jake. Joining me as always are Noah, Joseph, and Dean. I thought we'd go a little bit round table discussion right now.
Round table?
I don't know. What is it?
Did somebody say
round
round
squared? I don't know. Shut up. No. No more lore bullshit. God, no. Let me explain to you my phase build that's 50. It's the Rite of Heresy build with the.
You should have introduced us as Tarnished.
Oh, yeah.
With, titles.
Ah, man, I fucked up.
Dean, the loathsome toe eater.
You don't have the right. Oh, you don't have the right.
We got the fucking
Joseph,
avocado eater.
All right.
Joseph, the deathbed companion.
All right. Really quick.
Undead.
We're gonna go around and just say our names, how many hours we have in the game, and what Souls games we've played or completed prior. So we're just gonna do it a little quick. So for me, it's about 17 hours. I've gotten 17 hours on one character, and I've pretty much beaten the 3 Souls games before this. Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and most of Demon Souls. Never really played Bloodborne or Sekiro, though.
You didn't play Bloodborne?
I played like 2 hours of it, but like
because it was a console game.
30 FPS
at 140 FPS.
Not a fan. Oops. And Demon Souls I dropped, and then I came back to because there was a 60 FPS patch, so you know where my loyalties lie. So anyway, that's me. 17 hours into the game, and like I've beaten 3 Souls games before this. Dean,
I can't wait to get to Joseph.
Dean, you've played and beaten Dark Souls 1 and 3. Did you beat 2?
I've played everything except 2 and Sekiro.
Okay, and
Demon Souls.
But which ones have you beaten? You've beaten 1 and 3, right?
I beat 1, 3, Bloodborne. Okay. There's got to be another one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
And I have about 140 hours in Elden Ring right now.
Hell yeah. Just on this one character, right? You've only played one character? Alright.
I'm not even in New Game Plus yet, either. I have 4 more bosses to go.
I don't think you have 140. I think you have 160. At least Steam says that.
On Steam, but like in my character, I have...
Wait, so you're almost done with the game?
Yeah, almost.
It's all like side stuff that you can like. That's why it's padded out. Like the game is probably like what 80, 90 hours, 70 hours. Like if you really like just go like one direction. But like you gotta like grind a little bit and do other stuff.
I'd say like
you like.
I'd say at least 60 hours if like you just sort of go from boss to boss.
If you follow the guidance of grace.
Yeah. Which honestly, I stopped doing. Like,
so it's 60, not like 90.
Area.
What I was.
Never paid. I basically see the guidance of grace as like, okay, you're telling me to go this way. I'm gonna go this.
Yeah.
Noah, you have almost as much hours as Dean, if I recall correctly. At least on Steam. I think Steam is 145 for you and 165 for Dean, or something like that. But you have like less than that. So
wait, how?
Yeah, I'm like half as far as you, but I have like the same amount of hours.
What the fuck?
How? It's a combination of I die a lot,
and like lose all the souls. Yeah.
And I run around and look for things, and sometimes I'm stupid and I can't find them, so I run in circles for like half an hour.
As soon as I clear a boss, and like I don't get enough souls to level up.
And also, I have a really nasty habit of like I want to kill everything in the area.
That's really
I want everything to be dead, and that sometimes causes me to waste like hours being like, oh, made it to the end and the last thing killed me. Everything needs to be dead.
For me, it's about soul optimization. I only beat Godric recently, but that's because like every boss like I defeat, any little thing I've done, like I basically cleared almost every bit of content in like the first area. So like,
are
anytime,
you sure about that?
Again, I have no fucking idea because it's basically all the content that I think in my tiny brain I've done. Right.
It is literally not possible to do everything.
From what I'm able to do now, at least from what I think. But I would go like get like 5,000 souls, right? And it's like that's not enough to level up because I've done a side boss that I haven't even like I forgot to do, or I procrastinated. I didn't come back to it till way later. So I beat this boss easily. I get 5,000 souls, but I need like 9,000 level up. So I go do a little bit of grinding because I really didn't want to lose those souls, even though it's stupid because 5,000 is nothing right now.
I gave up on that a long time ago. I've lost like
you don't do
I've
that.
lost like
so
80,000 souls. I've lost so many just like dying to just random shit.
That sounds like a lot, but trust me, like it is so easy to get like way too many runes in this game.
Yeah, right now I'm literally running around with like 120,000 and I don't want to spend them on a level up and I don't have anything to buy and I'm like, help.
All right, really quick, last person, Joseph. How many hours have you put into the game?
About like 40 hours in the game.
Really? 40?
Yeah.
I thought it was like
40.
Oh, we have a little story here, though. We have a little story here that we need to get into.
Now, what did you hit? Did you hit 40 before or after you started cheating and hacking your character?
All right, I did about, I want to say 25 hours of legitimate gameplay. No, I did 25 hours, and then I did a few hours as hacking, and then after I reversed all that I did, I continued playing the game for another few hours.
So he boosted his character to like level 700, was it? Because he got sick of Margit?
All 99 stats. He basically can't level anymore. That's how much he leveled. So,
amazing.
Yeah. So basically, I convinced Joseph.
Undoing all that, I had to download hacks to undo my hacking.
So I convinced Joseph to play Elden Ring, right? And then so like he's playing like legitimately, and then he gets to like Margit, and I see him like do it a few times with like the spirit ashes, and like he's not doing bad, right? Like he could get it, and then like a day or two later. He messaged me. He's like, "Oh yeah, Godric was a bitch. I beat him like so easy." I'm like, "Oh wow, you already got to Godric? It hasn't been that much
really
time
good.
at all.
That's amazing. It's even faster than me,
shocking.
Joseph. Wow."
Hey, just curious.
I think.
What level were you? Opens up his status panel, 99 stats all across the board, and he did it. Apparently,
it was easy.
He apparently didn't even beat Margit legitimately. So
no, I brought him down to 30% before, and then I fucking
does not matter.
I
did it every time, Margit. I got down to 30% every time. Phase 2 is where the game where it gets actually difficult. That's where like it just because he Street Fighter combos the fuck out of you with holy weapons.
Only 20,000 out of like a lot that I've actually earned myself. And that's because I lost like over 30,000 runes and I got pissed. I'm like, well, fuck this. I'm just going to spawn it back in and spend it.
Joseph, how did you get 30,000 runes at a low level and not spend them? You must have earned...
I was going around killing lots of things. I was executing everything in sight.
But hold on, but why? But when you got enough runes to level, why didn't you say, hey... Maybe I should go to the Grace and use these runes before I lose them.
Because I died to a glitch. I don't know.
You didn't die to a glitch.
I died to a glitch.
You can teleport. You can teleport at any point.
Or anything. I wasn't in a dungeon. I was out in the open.
Yeah, so you can teleport.
It disappeared. It completely.
So you can teleport at any point.
It's gone. It went. It left. There was nothing there.
Noah, you have something to say.
I died to a glitch once.
I died to.
I was running down a hill on my horse. And then I was running across an open plain, and then my horse froze in place, and then I was like, and then it just stood there for a second, and then it played the falling death animation, and then I was like, cool. Sweet.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm not taking a loss when something like that happens. I'm spawning it back in, and I'm going to...
Oh, then I just went back and I just got my souls, because I'm not a pussy.
No, mine completely disappeared, though. There was none in sight, and it's not like I was fighting a high-level enemy.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing we should mention. True or false, whatever Joseph just said. I'm actually having trouble with another boss in this game, and that's the PC performance boss. It sucks.
Actually, it's not that bad. I'm getting
it depends. It depends on the system. So people are saying, like... NVIDIA, like day one, if you didn't have the driver, you were fucked. Yeah.
I tried changing like some of my graphics card settings to like what this article said was better. There are still some areas where it just chugs to absolute shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
The limb grade sewers are the worst area. the Limgrade sewers are the only area where I actually had like legitimate stutter issues.
I was. There's a particular place where I feel like it's whenever it's like loading in an area, and it's like Mount Gelmir, like between it and the Volcano Manor, and whenever I ride around that area, it's just like big chuggies. Big chuggies.
You guys are using-
and there's that really fun thing it does where sometimes it'll just crash during a loading screen. And you're just
You guys
thanks.
are. I know you guys are using the
Appreciate
latest AMD drivers for the the 60. I think Noah's using the 6800 or 6900, 6800 XT at least for Noah. And Dean, you're using the 6700 XT.
Yeah.
Okay, Joseph and I are using NVIDIA cards. I'm using a 1070 Ti. He's got a 1080.
Yeah, we have real graphics cards.
No, theirs are better than ours.
Real graphics cards.
He didn't say better. He said real.
Alright, yeah. I'm on the latest NVIDIA drivers. As soon as I did those, the game like started to run a lot better. It was like 1,000 times better. But I still have all kinds of performance issues. When I go over on my low-end system, over yonder, it's like way better. It's my AMD 580 machine with an 8600K. This little
It almost seems
8700.
like
It's so weird. It's all over. Sorry. It's
yeah,
all.
no, it almost seems
yeah.
like the less it tries to do, the better it runs. Like, I've heard it actually runs well on the Steam Deck, for example.
Because that's using AMD architecture, and that might explain a few things, although it doesn't explain your situation, Noah. You're on the latest AMD drivers, and it doesn't make sense. It's how texture streaming works in this game. It's causing all these micro stutters whenever like new textures are streamed in, and that's causing a ton of frame stuttering, and it would make sense that this is fixed on the Steam Deck, because if they optimized it for AMD machines, it all should be working good on every AMD GPU, but it's not. I think it's like Vulkan over there, like through Proton. I don't know how. I'm not a developer, so I have no idea how this shit works. But no, this is the performance is at least at launch. The performance at launch, fucking terrible. Now, not great, depending on who you are. I think it's. I can get it running 60 FPS almost 90% of the time now, 99%, but it's still frustrating. And I remember I was fighting Margit, and I swear to God, almost every time I died was because the game literally chugged for 4 straight seconds, and he would just do this, and I'd be like, and it stopped, and then 4 seconds later, I would be, like, on my ass, getting pounded by his giant fucking stick. Like a normal Thursday night. It was awful. I fucking hate the
I had
performance
trouble
in this
with
shit.
Margit's second phase.
Everyone
my
does.
first day playing, I brought him down to like 30%. It took a while before I could like bring him down any lower than that, even with all my root and stuff.
Because that's when he just does 30 combos on you and wins.
No, I know the reason. It's because Joseph is relying on his spirit ashes, and so like around the 30% mark, his spirit ashes die, and he can't dodge Margit.
No, that was before I used Spirit Ashes or the other summoner. That was on my own first day. That's why I was so fucking pissed off.
I should mention that Joseph's actually never played a Souls game before. He's only played about 2-3 hours of Dark Souls 1. I actually had him over, and he played it after he cheated in Elden Ring. I wanted to see what he was made of. And with a few like tips, he was actually able to get to the Taurus Demon and beat him like on his first try. I gave him a few tips, but
I
he was
guess
pretty
I
good.
put a wheel there so it'd be a little easier. Like, I'm not used to these games. I'm not used to a challenge. I should be wheeled around. I shouldn't have to try so hard.
Joseph, I think Elden Ring is probably the easiest game in the Soul series for beginners. If you use all the tools available.
If you use all the tools available.
I don't play anything in the genre.
Jake, there's literally an entire system in the game that lets you summon in another enemy to just fight the boss for you.
Yeah. And like when you
there's no comparison.
I think we should get into the general discussion then of what we think of the mechanics.
No, I didn't get to talk about my build.
No,
we're not talking about builds.
This is bullshit. You can basically cheat in game and get overpowered weapons if you want to look it up. But I decided to not do that and just cheat instead. How is that? That's not cheating that way.
You could just summon in other guys, and I would not. I would.
And he's a motherfucking cocksucker. And Noah's a nice person.
Because
Joseph thinks that because it's easy to cheat, that it was designed that way. So it was designed.
I'm setting the challenge I want to set.
Belligerent
You
The
fuck.
little panda
You
at the
belligerent
start called
fucking
easy
retard.
Anti-cheat.
You could literally summon people in this game. You
This
could
is a
literally
long way
grind,
from
and yet you
Garry's
don't.
Mod, bud.
You decide,
Long
I'm
way
too
from
lazy
Garry's
for that.
Mod.
I'm gonna use cheat
Long
engine
way
like a
from Garry's
bitch.
Mod. This ain't Rainbow Six Siege. How the fuck am I supposed to know how to play?
Anyway,
I
What do
watched
you mean?
like
let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on.
There's
Let's
a
move on.
hours worth of
multiplayer. You
video.
control
Let's
people.
let's move on. We're done. Joseph's a bitch. Confirmed. Okay. What?
Everybody gets a build talk except for me.
What? I cut it out of the first part of the podcast. Remember?
You cut it out because your audio broke.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
So why am I punished?
Joseph didn't get to talk about his build either. I
Joseph's
said,
build
and I
is
said,
hacking.
all I did was say was I have a hero build. That's it.
Yeah, Joseph's build is 999
No, my build
Yeah.
is dexterity
Yeah.
and
What kind of incantations do you use, Dean?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay. So I
Oh my
use a
god!
lot
No,
of the
no,
buff
guys, can we
ones.
not like focus on this particular part? It's like boring.
I disagree.
I think
What?
that's interesting.
Incantation.
Actually.
All right, what are your incantations?
The thing with the faith incantations, like at the higher levels, they all really suck. So
What's an
I just
incantation? Explain it to the people who haven't played
kinda,
Elden Ring yet.
Incantations
miracle.
are yeah, it's miracles basically.
There you go.
It's
And what's
the
a miracle?
spells you cast with
So
holy
it's-
magic. It's the
it is-
spells you cast with faith.
Yeah.
What's faith? Joseph
It's a
needs to
stat.
know. He doesn't know what he's lost. He's already looking
Faith
at
is
something else on his
faith
monitor.
is the name of a stat, which corresponds to using particular skills, which we call incantations.
It's the paladin's class.
there are two
it's the
types of
paladin
belief.
priest.
It's
There's
for holy.
belief-
It's for holy and fire damage.
There is belief based on evidence, and there is belief based on the fervor of the belief itself. The latter is faith. Dating back to the early periods of human history, before they had the ability to assess empirical evidence, they relied on their own dogmatic religions to explain the events around them.
Nice Wikipedia article, bro. All right.
You wanted to know what it meant. Next, you're gonna ask what strength is.
Okay, so
Make
Yeah,
it
so
quick,
basically
Dean.
all
Make it
the-
quick.
well, you just fucking brought us on a huge tangent.
Because I need you to
Asshole.
explain
He
what
has to
this
explain
is.
what fucking faith is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay,
Fucking asshole. Go
so
ahead.
the faith
Dean.
spells, right? So the end game ones are kind of shit. They have really, especially if you're faith strength, because you need dexterity to improve cast time, right? And so the faith spells, they have really long charge ups. Okay, so you're vulnerable for that whole time, and then they do like about as much damage as a jumping heavy attack. So not really great. They're okay. They're good for like crowd clearing, like trash mobs and stuff. But like for bosses and like real fights, I stick to buffing myself. So there's ones that like increase attack power and defense. I just got one that like increases your physical damage negation by like 25%, which is like huge.
It is huge. Dude.
Yeah. So
Do you have to use a specific weapon, like a staff or whatever, with that?
you need a seal. So seals are just like what you cast incantations with, basically. Oh yeah. Also, like just having like a couple, like throwing spells, like a lightning spear or like a fireball, or whatever, is like really nice because there's
Yeah.
a lot of sections in the game where you have like enemies that are like on walls, and then you can like sort of like pick them out one by one by just like chucking a spear at that. I guess like daggers would do the same thing, but
But
And
Faith
what-
spells
what
more
one is a
damage
dagger,
does
one is a
spears?
lightning bolt. You know, like,
Yeah.
I want to throw a lightning bolt.
right.
Well, I mean, I don't throw lightning.
I can't figure out how to use magic.
I
It's
throw
too complicated.
blue magic cum shots.
A magic user, yes. A heretical.
I
Disgusting.
am a spell knight.
Uh-huh.
I combine my magic with
I combine-
the martial arts.
I apply magical abilities and dust to my wife's bowl before she gets fucked. And then
Yeah, bros.
Mhm.
I
Via
apply
bros.
cheats. That's what I do.
Via bros.
unless you're a pyromancer. If you're a pyromancer or a fire user, then you're a Chad, but not a
That's a
virgin.
faith build.
Yeah, but that's not a that's I didn't know what it was in here, and I would have chose that.
Yeah, I know you
didn't
don't know.
faith.
You don't know shit. You're an ignorant.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
haven't been playing the game on easy mode, Noah. Damn.
Nibba.
That was mean. I'm
Do you have
sorry.
any idea how low my health was for like most of the game?
Yeah, no, I played 2 hours in as a magic user, and it was really shit because you take like 2 damage, 2 hits, and you're dead.
I
Sucks.
won.
Yeah.
Um,
I just don't find magic to really be
Yeah,
that
magic is not
interesting,
pure
although-
magic is not like super fun. You gotta
Yeah,
mix it in with like a
fuck
weapon.
pure magic.
Yeah, that's why you gotta.
Here's what I do, okay? Whenever I'm, needing to fight a big motherfucker, I summon a big glowing blue sword and I fucking stab them in the gut so hard with it they fall the fuck over. I walk over, I lay a bunch of fucking bombs on the ground as they wake up, and then I fucking do all other kinds of shit, because I'm a cool guy. I pull out a big
sounds
fucking
fun.
hammer and start smashing them with it, except it's magic. That's right. I'm using my brain to
Hold on, Jake. I gotta go
unabunga.
take a shit. I'll be right back.
All right, fine.
I've tried using the power of a lot to help me, but it's not working, and I don't want diarrhea all over this fancy chair.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Go
take a shit.
Good. All right.
But yeah,
That's fine. We can
I
talk,
actually-
we'll
so,
talk
something that I really appreciate about this game is that they've finally started making some like improvements to the overall feel of combat.
Yes.
Something really unique that they started doing is certain spells and other abilities are like dedicated follow-ups. So there's a spell called Carian Slicer, which is a short summon sword that you pull out of your left hand that's magical. And it's the casting time, the startup, is cut short if you do it after any other action, running, rolling, jumping,
Oh, okay. So it
or
melds
another
in-
attack.
It's not just other magic; it melds in with subsequent attacks. It's actually with other attacks that are completely
Other-
different or other actions. Okay.
The ability to get like a little bit of movement before you cast something is helpful. Just overall, just like feels better. And since the games have been much more focused on like having more action-oriented fights, it's nice that they have improved these things, especially I think with the added dimension of jumping.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
definitely,
It's still much of a Souls game, though. You still have the little extra input delay. You still have the wind up for certain attacks.
I have a problem with the jumping though. Like for strength weapons specifically, it's because like they
mathematically,
it doesn't leave you. Yeah, it doesn't leave you any more open than an R1 really,
You mean R2?
but it does like
I'd say it's closer to an R2. I've
Oh.
done some jumping attacks and really
I mean,
felt
and,
like I'm stuck in place with.
okay, maybe
weapons.
maybe an uncharged R2.
That's
when
what
we
I'm
say,
even
when we
then-
say, hold on, when we say R1, R2, R1 being the bumper and trigger, when you hit R1 in this game, it's a light attack. R2 is a heavy. R2 can be charged up with a little bit more wind up, and then you just crack down on an
Yeah.
enemy.
So
When you get attacked in that time, you can get staggered if someone like hits you, which is when you're winding up. Someone hits you, you stagger for a little bit, and you're gonna have to restart the attack.
Yeah, the only problem is that an uncharged R2 or heavy attack is going to do less damage than a single jumping heavy attack, which is like leaves you the same amount of open, right?
and
So
grants you so much more freedom of movement. So, for example, let's say your R2 only goes this far in front of you. You add a jump to that, you can go a lot further. You could do a jump backwards in R2. I've used that to fight some of the dogs where they lunge at you and you just jump backwards and chop them in the head.
That's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
It's overall, at times, difficult to justify not using a jumping attack in most scenarios.
I've been getting away with using
And-
the Art of War that has you flinging the axe around like some kind of crazy Mad
I think
Max,
it's like
Mad Men.
Savage Strike.
Yeah, it's like basically you do not get interrupted when you do that. It takes a little bit of magic and stamina for every swing, but subsequent swings, like you can just decimate lower tier enemies that like attack you to because whenever you get attacked in this game, you get staggered. So if you're doing like big swings that take a long time to wind up, you're constantly getting staggered, and the dogs are the worst thing for this. So if you use one of this art that where you're just swinging and you're not getting interrupted, you can just plow through like 10 enemies and not take a single bit of damage. It's great, honestly. It's awesome.
Yeah, the Arts of
they've-
War have like a lot of potential in this game. Like
They've really changed
Totally.
up how you can use like melee weapons, because before it's like the game still has the problem of you're kind of married to whatever weapon you're using, unless like you can like find one that's like, okay, this one's better, or this one's like kind of different, but I can build into it really easily. You're still married to these weapons, and you have the upgrade pass, and you have to spend stones, and then they're finite items. Even though you can find a lot of them. But with the arts, I feel that you can just throw stuff on, that you can kind of change up how the weapon's used. Like, so the axe can go from this big thing that you can crack down on enemies to, now I can deal with these little, tiny little shit imps. I fucking hate these things. These gargoyle imps, whatever the fuck they're called. We had an argument about this, what they're called. With the shit in the
I
catacombs.
think you were calling the misbegotten gargoyles, which shut the fuck up. Anyway.
Imps, I don't know. I was calling them imps, you guys were calling them gargoyles, and then I'm like, I didn't think it was gargoyles. And then I looked it up, and you're right, they're gargoyles.
There's nothing just like, that was just like a mwah moment than Jake saying, look, they don't have wings, proceeds to post a picture with the wings in the fucking shot.
I didn't say that. I said, look at the wingspan.
You literally said they didn't have wings.
No.
You said they didn't have wings, and then you took that goalpost to the ground, you walked over here and said,
I want proof right now. Look it up. I want proof.
The
wingspan wasn't as big as them.
Is appropriate for a gargoyle. Fuck off.
Love you. Yeah, so really quick, what do you guys think of it being like a 96 on Metacritic? Because this is like one of the like highest reviewed games, as long as I can think of. Like pretty much the entire 8th gen of console, I cannot think of a game that even hit that hard, aside from maybe like The Last of Us or something. Like, and that was Gen 7 actually, technically. So like the remaster, I don't know. Like I can't think of one game that's like hit.
It is only slightly worn off, but for the first like few weeks after this game came out, it had a hold on me like nothing has had in like years. Where like now I'm making a conscious choice to play Elden Ring. Before I would like finish work, close my eyes, open them, and I'm already loading into the game. I felt like life was a dream that I woke up from to play Elden Ring. Now it's just worn off a little bit, where it is slightly less toxic, and it is more now just fun.
What about you, dude? Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were finished.
No, go ahead.
I think I agree with the 95%.
I think it's 95 or 96 right now. It kind of goes up and down.
I can't like think of like a single. I mean, like some of the areas are like bullshit, but like I can't think of like a single like actually like poorly designed. Like
I still have some gripes with some things.
Me too.
For example, I'll just list off some gripes. Posture and posture breaking is like really important in this game, and it's still really fucking annoying when I posture break an enemy, walk up to either their glowing weak point or just them in general, and I press the R1 button and I do a light attack. Because my elevation was slightly off, I wasn't like in the super proper position.
To
and
explain,
this has been
you're
solved.
talking about the moment where like the enemy's staggered and you're about to do like a hit that's like on a specific point that's like gonna do like, it's like, oh, hitting the weak point that is getting exposed, and you're gonna do like 5 times the amount of damage, right? And you think you hit that point, but for some reason it doesn't fucking register, and like it's I know exactly what you're talking about, and my camera died.
And this is something that other games have solved. Neo, for example, and when you get close to an enemy that's in a grappleable state, the lock-on icon changes color. And then you know that no matter what, you're gonna attempt to do the grapple animation. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to connect. If you do it too late, they might still dodge out of it, which still happens in Elden Ring. As for the bar, it would be nice to see the bar. It would definitely like make decisions made in combat be more based on information rather than guessing. I have a funny feeling that there's literally one reason why the posture gauge is not in this game, and it has a beak, 2 wings, and it lives in Caelid, and it has the most bullshit attack I've ever fucking seen. Where it literally the birds.
I know the bird. But I'm trying to think of
birds
what attack you're talking about.
Will enter the posture break animation.
Oh,
and the sound will play. The sound will play. The god of Elden Ring that decides what sound effects mean what. This is also fooled and says, yes, this is the sound that plays. And it's literally not in the game so that one enemy can fuck you that one time and make you want to fucking fly to fucking Japan, find Miyazaki, and twist his nips off.
I hate the fucking aerial enemies in this game, but those birds, that bird you're talking about, though, I know exactly what you're talking about. Those things are insane. Oh my god.
Just any bird. Any
flying enemy is so fucking annoying. The ones that throw the fucking barrels at you in that fucking stupid castle. Yeah. I fucking hated that. Fuck. Yeah. When you're in a strength build and you can't even fucking run, and it's like, I got a barrel. Hey, Fuck
that's
you.
That's what the fireballs are for, with the faith.
Yeah.
Okay. I found the barrels very easy to track and roll. You just as soon as they hit the ground, you just roll. But the barrel is fat rolling.
I didn't know that Faith was also pyromancy in this game, so I usually pick pyromancy because you can hit you can throw fireballs out. It's nice.
So for me the problem wasn't the barrels. It's the ones that get the little fire breath. Because the thing I like about the birds, the reason why I still hate the dogs more, is that I learned the birds' movesets. They have about 5 attacks, and they all have dedicated follow-ups, and one of them, they jump and stick their claws in the ground, and they're stuck there for a second, and you could just run over and fucking...
I hate the fucking birds. I hate them.
But the ones with the fire breath stick their claws in the ground, and then they back up and shoot fire right at that spot. So every time I would be like, this is my opportunity, because my fucking reptile brain could not internalize that these were different birds. And I would just jump into the fire breath and get fucked. But
so how far is that into the game where you get to fight Firebird? I'm not looking for
the birds with the fire breath are in Stormvale Castle.
Maybe
they're just in certain particular parts of Stormvale Castle.
I don't actually remember that. I don't remember birds with fire breath in Stormvale.
You don't remember birds with fire breath?
No. Mm-hmm. I only remember regular birds with fucking swords on their feet.
These had swords on their feet and a little pouch next to their throat, and they could go and they'd shoot little fire spit.
Maybe I missed something.
That's where the regular birds are?
I spent many an hour combing over Stormvale to make sure I found everything. Because I would see items off in the distance, and I'd be like, how the fuck do I get that?
Yeah. I recently just found I went back and I found a whole room that I just never saw before. It was on the main road going through that's heavily fortified, and I actually found some good spells in there.
Oh, you want to hear something fucking stupid? I'm gonna take a big fat L for this one. I'm running all over the round table hold. I'm looking over places, I'm checking doors, I'm seeing if anything new has changed, and I always would look down over that balcony where Rogier sits, and I'd be like, man, a lot of bloodstains down there. I wonder how you get down there. And then I'd run away from the balcony, and I'd jump on the tables, and I'd jump on things, and I'd jump around, and then I'd go to the balcony, I'd be like, damn, how do I get down there?
Oh, is this the round table?
I never once thought to just jump over the balcony. I was listening to a podcast and somebody was just like, yeah, so I jumped the balcony and there was something down there and that was pretty cool. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I would literally just jump everywhere. Just jumping up and down, jumping along. As soon as I got to that one balcony, I was like, damn, if only there was some way to get over this tiny, 1 foot high little railing. Fucking it was hour 90 I figured that out.
I've got a question. What's the point of that fucking church thing with the big bell? Because I killed that early.
Oh, okay. Let me explain this. So, Joseph, when you kill a major boss, you get their remembrance soul or whatever, and you go and you trade that in for a special boss weapon. So if you bring that bell thing down, you can actually duplicate those remembrances. So you get 2. You can get both of the items, or you can get 2 of the same weapon or whatever if you want to dual wield.
Oh.
So
Oh,
like,
okay.
That's really cool.
yeah,
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah,
I thought it was
yeah.
useless.
No, like, see,
no.
like, so many things are, like,
It's always a
so
purpose.
nice and just, like, convenience things that will make it so hard to, like, go back to other games. Like, the fact that Ashes of War are how affinities work, where infusions, where normally in the Souls games, in addition to the weapon upgrades, there's also weapon upgrade trees where you can change which stats influence the weapon. And beforehand, this was a dedicated, you cannot go back without spending a lot of money or other resources to a different one if you decide this one is bad. Like, let's say, oh, I want to see how this scales with intelligence, and you're like, oh no, my intelligence isn't high enough to actually improve this because of split damage and all that other bullshit. Now, you can just go back. Just put a different one on. It's just a little menu right in your little grace that you can just pop different stat infusions on and off.
Joseph, can you turn on any lights in your room? Because that's why you're glitching out, by the way.
His room is full of lights. Look at all those chandeliers.
Out? What?
If you turn on more lights, the software will work better with...
Well, what's wrong with it? What?
Flamingo laughed on
It's
MP4.
perfect. You're perfect.
I'm looking and it looks fine to me. I don't know what the issue is.
Move your arms.
What?
Oh, Noah's got it too. His is better though. So is Dean's.
That's because I have a little bit of daylight.
Here we go.
I had dead zones, but like right here is fine.
Back to minor gripes. I have one other thing I want to talk about. I think it is time From Software revisits their control scheme. Because having to fucking...
Controversial opinion time!
Having to do this to fucking run and move my camera at the same time is fucking annoying.
Oh, you don't like bending your index finger onto the side of the B button?
Thumb over to hit my D-pad when I want to like change weapons or change my spells or change my items, which will either prevent me from moving or prevent me from rolling. One or the other. Shit.
Ooh,
Come up with something new.
Moving over,
honestly,
the PC. Your camera just died, Dean. The PC. So I guess that means I get to talk. The PC port for the controls, like they have to update this thing. I am so goddamn sick of this. They have released 4 games on PC now from Software: Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Sekiro, and 5 games on PC. And they keep using the same control scheme that doesn't work well for mouse and keyboard. It's designed for a pad, and they should start having hotkeys, because when you have to go into separate menus now, on a keyboard is stupid. That is dumb. On controller it makes sense, because you got 4 face buttons and 4, and you got a hat switch, your D-pad. So, of course it makes sense. You gotta go to sub-menus, but you should not have to do that on the PC, and it's even worse in Elden Ring now. It still doesn't... They've had 4 times to do this. This is their 5th time. They have still not gotten the controls down for PC, and that is unacceptable. The port's bad entirely. You cannot play the game without a gamepad. It kind of works, but you don't want to. You play with a gamepad.
I think for controllers specifically, look into some kind of layering process. For example, Dean and I are very familiar with Dragon's Dogma, where you could hit a button to basically modify what your face buttons do to access special moves. I'm not saying that would immediately solve every problem.
You can use that for item selection.
You can do that, something like that for big picture mode. You can have like certain if it would be very easy for them to implement it. Like I bet a modder could fucking do it, honestly.
Yeah. So and it's this weird funny thing that like Demon's Souls was basically like built on like a highly modified version of like the Armored Core engine, where like because an Armored Core.
That's why it's so janky and fucking
right shoulder, left shoulder, right hand, left hand, as far as bumper, trigger goes.
Because it's like a mech. It's like guns.
Because it was a mech game.
Melee weapons, guns,
and so they just sort of took that control scheme and retrofitted this action RPG around it, and it works well enough for Demon Souls, but all the way in Elden Ring, you've got crazy follow-up spells, special attacks,
You've got, like,
way
your
more aggressive enemies.
You got your summon mount buttons, your inventory system's all fucked up now, because you gotta go into a separate sub-menu to go, like, through, like, your other shit. It just doesn't fucking work.
The pace is so much faster. I don't want to claw. Stop making me claw. Please.
Well, actually, I don't have...
Wait, pause.
Oh,
pause.
sorry.
You guys want to see what Joseph just sent me?
Yes. It better be a dick pic.
Send it in podcast, put it in podcast admin.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm pulling
Should
it
I
down.
Put an LOL after it was a joke. It was a joke.
It was a joke, officer.
Save file with all
I just
weapons,
wanna see what
armor, and
graphic
unlimited
improvement
ruins.
things would
Joseph,
be here.
should I get this? Nexus mods. Nice. Nice. Thanks for
Yeah,
thanks for
Joseph
halting the podcast.
It's a joke because Joseph would just probably hack all that stuff in with Cheat Engine anyway. He wouldn't have to download a save file.
Let's move on. What are you guys' thoughts on like, you guys are like, you know, out of the honeymoon period. I was honestly never in the honeymoon. I like the game for what it is. Like, I think, like, I'm really glad they made this because I wanted a game where it's like, okay, imagine a game that's like 130 hours, an open world game. I think, oh god, open world game. But then it's like, oh, but all the side stuff is really fun. Like, it's like playing another main game. And you're like, okay, and that's, in my opinion, the side content so far, the 15, 14 hours I've played of it is excellent. I really feel like there's great progression building your character. There is some problems where, like, you miss, like, an old boss, right? Like a side boss. You go back to him, like, 30 levels later, and you just decimate him. And, you know, that it causes some scaling issues. But the only way to fix that, in my opinion, would have been to, like, have, like, level scaling with other enemies, and that would have been fucking awful. Never, ever do that, please. In a game that's designed to be difficult, holy shit, that would be awful.
Yeah, but that's why you have to be careful on your own.
No, but like, if you have the enemies constantly level to your level, you're never improving. Like, you're never getting like that feeling.
I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying that's why you shouldn't over level or anything like that.
Yeah, but the problem is that it's hard not to in an open world game. It's hard not to, because if you're like the type of person like, I want to do all the side content. Well, great, but now, like, halfway through that open world leveling, the main stuff's still hard, which is what I give the game credit for. But when you're halfway through, like, one area, and you're doing all the side content, eventually, if you, like, break off, do a little bit of the main and come back, you will decimate enemies. Like, one time I encountered a dragon in the first area, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not fighting that thing, right? And then I come back, and I beat its ass so easily after I got to Godric. Because, you know, it's a first-level enemy, and it's a problem.
The dragon looks way more intimidating than it is. Dragon fight those dragons. Once, just like, if you're having difficulty with them, make sure you're fighting them on horseback. Yeah, because that's how you're meant to fight them.
Let's transition into horseback. Actually, what do you guys think of the horse combat? I think it needs a little bit more work. I would have preferred.
I like it actually.
I like it too. I think Twilight Princess has the best horse combat in any game, honestly. Even though it's like, it's dumb, but it's really fun and visceral. Here, it's a little like you got to wind up, wait. It feels good when you hit shit. But what did you think, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of basic. I don't think they meant to like have it be like super in depth, because like it's really only for like a couple enemies that I guess are better on horseback.
Yeah,
or better to fight on horseback.
Some bosses too.
Like, to be honest, like I only use it for like trash enemies. Like if there's a boss, I always demount. Like even for the dragons, I just like
really.
Yeah, for the dragons, I feel like it's because on the horse, it's easier to just if he flies up to do like the fire breath down on the ground, it's easier just to mount up on the horse on the fly when you need to, and then you get like iframes from that too, right? And so when you're actually like attacking him, it's much better just to demount and start like hacking at his feet.
See, I disagree. I go for the head, and the extra height that the horse gives you makes the head a lot easier to hit.
That's interesting.
And you do more damage if you.
How is it with magic on the? Because you can. I'm used to just swinging a big axe.
Cast
but what
on
about
the horse,
magic?
and I've done some fights. It's actually pretty crazy that a lot of the glint blade stuff, where you are summoning like a big magical sword, also works on horseback, and they have their own little custom swing animations for that, and makes certain fights easier with doing them with the glint blade stuff because they have a much longer reach. And you can charge up some of those things and move at the same time because you're on horseback. The disadvantage is, of course, that you cannot have them both out at the same time. You can't do sword in one hand, staff in the other. You have to make a dedicated choice, one or the other.
I'm at least glad they went all out with the, like, oh yeah, you can use any spell on it. Like, fuck it, here you go. You can use power attacks, you can use, almost
You can't use the big spell hammer on it.
Oh.
When?
Never mind then. 0 out of 10.
That's
Shit mechanics. Underdeveloped.
I agree. For the most part, I use horseback fighting when I'm riding in the open world and I see something and I'm like,
I'm really glad they
you're
put
gonna
that
die.
in, because
I'm
like
gonna kill it.
I'm glad they didn't like have it
it.
restricted to like a mechanic where like you have to find like a thing of grass on the ground and then summon your horse that way. You have to pay. No, you can just summon it right up your ass, even when you're in mid combat, and that's thank God for that. Unless I think you're about to say this, there's a certain area in the game, like certain areas in the game where you cannot summon your horse. It actually gets desummoned.
Well, sure. I was thinking, I have this sneaking suspicion that I have no basis for this other than just like my experience with From Software games. I have a feeling at one point they had a system where your horse could get poisoned or afflicted with scarlet rot, and somebody on the team like threatened Miyazaki with like a gun and he took it out.
What is scarlet rot? I've never experienced it in the game.
Oh, it's like poison, but way worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like the like in Blighttown, what was that called?
Toxic.
Yeah.
It's like toxic,
Fucking
but it's red and it makes everything.
In the first game.
And it makes everything worse.
Yeah.
Like, you remember dogs? Now they're little T-Rexes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That steal moves from Monster Hunter monsters.
Honestly, it never gets as bad as like Blighttown though. It's never as bad as Blighttown, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like there's one area in the game, like underground, that has like that has scarlet rot like in the water, but there's not there's not like random enemies throwing daggers at you from like inaccessible locations.
You know what is there?
Yeah, there's less bullshit in this game, honestly. Mostly.
Fucking Spirit Dweller archers in fucking Siofra
Yes.
River are the most cancerous thing they have put in any of these games. Miyazaki is fucking obsessed with having some cunt sit at like 500 miles away
and shoot shit at you.
Fucking ballistic missiles at you.
Like the fucking archers in Anor Londo that would fucking knock you off. Really worse. Like you had a paper thin rail that you had to walk on like a tightrope, and these guys would fucking snipe you.
Jake.
Worse than that.
This, Jake. Imagine this. You're in an underground forest, okay? You're surrounded by on all fronts by like raised platforms with trees and shit, right? And there's these fuckers scattered all around you, okay?
And they're invisible.
And they can hit you from before you can even see them, basically. And they do so much damage.
Yeah. They do so much damage, and they track like motherfuckers. You think you can just ride your horse perpendicular, which is usually how you avoid projectiles when you're on horseback? Nah, they'll tag you anyway. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit. And you just think, I'll just get out of their range. They will keep hitting you. They never, ever stop. They'll exceed the draw distance. They don't give a shit.
Speaking of draw distance, that sounds like so like I noticed in like the other Souls games, there's always like a balancing of like your bullshit strategy versus the enemy's bullshit strategy. So I don't know, like you would figure out like, oh shit, I can stagger a guy that's 50 feet tall, or oh shit, if I angle my blade correctly, I can attack through solid walls, something. But they can do the same thing to me. And I've noticed that the bullshit is starting to, the pendulum of bullshit is starting to swing more towards the enemy. because it used to be when you get knocked down in these games, you have a lot of hit invincibility if you don't touch your roll button or your controller. Like, you're getting up, your guy's like, oh my god, I got knocked down, let me get up. And until he goes straight up, so like he could be at his knees, getting up, you're actually invincible. But in this game, and this is where strength build kind of sucks, is when I get knocked down on my ass, I'm getting up, and I can't move unless I'm smashing the roll button, and even then, I could still get hit. You don't have that hit invincibility anymore. So when I'm getting up, I can take a second hit. And when this game, like, shit kills you in 2 to 3 to 4 hits, in full fucking armor, I have 74 endurance, and that's all filled up by armor, almost.
I noticed it's
3 to 4 hits, I still get fucking killed.
I have that problem, too. I have that same exact issue.
No, you're looking at me disgusting. You don't...
You have 74 endurance? What level are you?
I don't know.
There's no way you have 74 endurance.
You have no way.
There's
no way you have any stat to 74.
Jake is cheating too.
No, I'm
Jake
not.
is hacking.
74? Wait, wait, sorry.
Are you talking about your stamina, or are you talking about the actual stat?
Equip load. I'm sorry. I have 74 equip load. I'm like,
okay, equip load.
Okay, so that's
no,
like
I am not like
25,
150.
26. That's like 25, 26 or something. Okay.
Less, probably, actually.
No, 25 is 72. I remember because I popped a great rune once.
I have like items on that like increase my equip
I'm
load.
glad you clarified this. No way.
Right.
Anyway, I have this big ass hat that's like 14 out of 74 equipment load. I have fucking like this fucking first area armor. It's a pumpkin
14?
hat. Yeah, it's a pumpkin hat. So there's an
Where is
imp
that?
hat that's like 8 pounds. I'm gonna say pounds because it's easier. There's like an 8-pound fucking imp hat. And then there's a 14-pound pumpkin hat that's like a metal fucking pumpkin hat. That's like
Why would you wear that?
Because it's dope as fuck, and I have shitloads of armor, but I still die in like 4 to 5 hits. But it's like still like one more. I have the great shield up, so I'm like a little bitch. I have this fucking giant ass great shield. I am caked in armor, and I have this fucking axe that I can just wave around like a fucking reed. It's fucking great. I love it.
But you fat roll though.
Yes, but I have the great shield, and it's great.
You do have like a little bit of invincibility on the get up. I've had shit hit me.
Yeah,
and I fall on my
sometimes,
ass,
but
and then it hit me.
It comes and goes, really.
Okay, but it goes away a lot earlier than it used to.
Yeah.
This will bring me to gripe number 4 or whatever. These games need to really fucking chill on the input buffer. Now, for those of you who are not aware what an input buffer is, let's say you're playing a game where you swing a sword, and you press the attack button, and the animation plays where it goes like, Now, if there is no input buffer, there's 0 input buffer, if you press the attack button once, and then you press it 4 more times during the course of that swing, until you have pushed it after that animation is completely done, it will not register a second input. Mm-hmm. Now, the Souls games lean a little bit on the opposite side of the spectrum, where if you push the attack button at the start of that attack, and then you push it again, at any point, it'll remember that. It remembers everything. And worst of all,
it's like hitting W twice on your keyboard before like the first W is imprinted. Yeah, on a Word document.
It remembers what you input during hit stun. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because if you are trying to, say, dodge an attack, and let's say you fuck up. Let's say you press the dodge button too late. You're going to get hit. And that's okay. You made a mistake. You are punished. But the input buffer remembers. You pushed the B button, or the circle button, when you were in the hit stun animation. So don't worry, From Software's got you. As soon as you're out of hit stun, you're committed to a roll.
It's like
and
fucking
what that means is that you're getting hit by the next attack.
It's like having 1,000 ping in a fucking Counter-Strike game. It's ridiculous.
Twice.
So stupid.
For one mistake. Input buffers are good. input buffers are helpful. Having one that is this aggressive is cancer.
Yeah. The other ones, they would sometimes, like, most of the time, they would just knock you out of doing the animation anyway in, like, the other games, because they would kind of, like, poke you with a little stick. Like, I noticed this in Dark Souls 1 when I saw Joseph and Aaron playing it. Like, sometimes they would just get poked, and, like, this is a little bit unrelated to it, but, like, the animations in general, you would get, like, some saves. Like, oh, I didn't accidentally drink when I didn't mean to. That's great, because he poked me out of it. But because everything, like, does so much damage here, and because the input delay, the input buffer is, like, all fucked up now, like, the game really punishes you for fucking up now. Before, it's like, oh, I got lucky. He stabbed me halfway through. But no, now it's really fucked.
The input buffer has stayed the same. The enemies have just gotten more aggressive, and since, like...
That's for sure.
I feel like From Software notices people doing, like, no-hit runs, and they, like, they take that personally.
I don't like this.
So they design enemies with, like... these really, like, cunty wind-up animations where they're like,
Yeah.
and just like trying to make you roll. Like,
yeah,
you gonna roll? You gonna roll? Gotcha.
It's in stark contrast to, like, the Tauros demon, because everyone, like, would, like, fight that boss and, like, be like, I'm done. I can't play Dark Souls. This is too hard. But then, like, you'd understand that, like, he like, how he would work is that sometimes he would punish you if you kept rolling too much. Like, if you did that on the Asylum demon, you can get behind his ass pretty easily and beat him. Tauros demon, though, because he has wide swings and, like, he just does the but it taught you about when to not roll, and that was important. And when you got that, you could start really playing the game because you didn't have a big shield yet. Now it's like every boss is either the Tauros demon or every boss is like, yeah, let me just throw like 7,000 attacks at you, so you have to roll constantly. So either you're like, oh my god. But yeah, go ahead.
The one that fucked me up was like, Dark Souls 1, you got Tauros demon. Pretty tough, good first boss. Compare him to fucking Margit.
Oh my god.
Who is just an unbelievable asshole. The thing that would fuck me up. The thing that would fuck me up and just make me want to, like, sometimes you just want to have the developer there so you can just go like,
explain
what
this.
the fuck is this? And it's when I would perfectly roll out of the way of one of his attacks, and before that roll was complete, he was already hitting me with his next one. And I'm
so
like,
fucking frustrating.
What am I supposed to do?
That's why I picked the Great Shield. That's why I picked the Great Shield, because I don't have to deal with that bullshit. Like, it's so fucking annoying that I have to, like... I don't want to play the Great Shield build every game, because it makes me feel like a bitch. But, like, I have such horrible reaction times, and this game is so... And I'm glad you're actually saying this, man, because Phase 2 Margit is one of the hardest fucking things in any fucking Souls game, period. I would rather do 5 Beds of Chaos back to back than do that shit again. No. Bed of Chaos was broken. It was a bad design. But in terms of what, like, I literally wanted to scream my head off fighting Margit. Bed of Chaos, I'm like, oh my god, this shit again. Margit, oh my god, I was gonna have a fucking aneurysm fighting that boss, dude, until I literally stopped playing for hours at a time, would go hours out of the way to do quests and all this other shit. I'd come back, I'd still get my ass beat until I got that Great Shield. I couldn't do it. I couldn't fucking beat it without the Great Shield. I had to fucking overlevel to get that shield, and then when I take damage now, I could actually withstand a full volley of his attacks, so I'd be like, with my Great Shield.
I haven't found, like, anything with, like, a couple exceptions that's, like, quite as cunty as Margit.
Yeah.
Margit is, like, almost uniquely an asshole.
Godric wasn't even that bad, honestly. The second...
I know Dean's a bit further than me, so he's seen some shit.
I think it gets much worse.
That's the other problem I have.
I was trolling you while you were trying to beat it a bunch for like...
Oh, you're talking about the Deathbird, which is a mini boss in the snow area, which is like a late game area.
The mini bosses in this game could be like absurdly fucking strong. You go in thinking like, oh, it's not a big deal, and like he fucking annihilates you.
Dean was beating him, and I just started ear-raping Dean.
Yeah. Go ahead, Noah.
Mini gripe.
Grapes?
You don't have the grape! You don't have the grape!
Mini gripe number 5 or 6. When you die in the open world, it turns to morning. Every time.
And so if there's a night boss, you have to rest at the grace.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
Change it to night.
I never,
And there's literally no point to this mechanic other than to just make you sit at the grace and change the time.
Because I never have enemies are quieter at night. It's like, I don't care. I barely use the stealth system anyway because I could just murder them. And it's like, what was the point of them adding a day-night cycle? And then it's like, oh, it's for these bosses. But it's like, you gotta change it. So every time you die, you gotta go to the fucking button, and then hit a button, and then wait. Oh man, don't you love this game design? It's like, do you remember when Metal Gear? Sorry, really quick. Remember in like Metal Gear Solid 3 or something, where you die at the start, like you get into a boss fight, like randomly, unexpectedly, right? You get into the boss fight, but you don't have all your equipment ready. So like when you die, you have to reload that boss fight, but you have to reload your gun. Eat your ration, do a whole song and dance if you weren't prepared, and you'd have to do that every single, because you can't save Ms. Boss Fight, every single time. It's like doing that, but...
Yeah, it's busy work. And
yeah, it's dumb.
I didn't know that's how it worked. I thought it just advanced time by like a set amount, so I was like, oh, I'm not worried. If I keep dying, it'll just be night eventually. I thought like your like respawn process like took time or whatever. But no, that's not the system at all. And it means for like an early part of the game, like I didn't even see nighttime. That's part of how I missed Ronnie at the fucking Church of LA right away.
I haven't seen her either.
She only comes out at night.
Oh, what the fuck? Is this the first area?
Only shows up at that church at night.
Wait, is this the area where
before you kill Margaret?
Is this the church where you learn the spells?
No, this is the Church of LA. Basically, your first stop where you meet the merchant who looks kind of like a skinny Santa Claus.
Wait, near the armor smith? Like the armor thing? What the fuck? I didn't fucking know that. Shit! Did I miss this? Did I fuck this up?
No. Don't worry. It's not.
It's literally.
It's not an important meeting.
It's literally nothing, but it's still annoying that you can miss it.
Maybe I did. Is Marnie like the cute one that everyone makes the memes off of? The one without the eye?
She's blue.
Yeah, no, that's Melina.
Okay.
She's blue, and she has a witch hat. She's like a puppet.
Okay, I know the witch.
And she has 4 arms.
The non-forearm one, I've seen that one at the... I don't remember. I fucking don't know.
She's Melina is like the story one where like you literally can't miss her, and she gives you the horse and everything.
No, not her. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm thinking not the one... I feel like a bunch of them don't have eyes for some reason. I know which one I'm thinking. I know which one we're talking about right now, but... Fuck.
The Finger Maidens tend to have like one closed eye. Or at least Melina does.
Okay.
And then Ronnie has a different closed eye. I don't know what I mean!
Miyazaki, please explain with a 7-hour lore video. If I could jump in here once again, I feel like you guys are probably having like a different experience than me because I'd almost, while I really like this game, I'd still think like I would rather have made like taken 5 years to make like another linear, Metroidvania-esque Souls game with like all the crazy like great level design, because here, while I do think for those of you who haven't played it yet or maybe like are trying to like keep away from it a little bit without spoiling it, spoiler-free podcast, this game is like a combination of classic WoW and like one of the earlier Zelda games in like concept art. The way that you can like go into this game and like see all kinds of different detail, backgrounds, like It like each like level in this game is beautiful. Like you literally go to different areas too. Like at the beginning of the game, you can go to so many different areas because you think like, oh, these end game areas, it's gonna take me forever to get to. No, you can go there like right a fucking way, and it's amazing that you can. And like genuinely, when I think I'm done, there's just more shit, and I feel like I'm in like do you guys remember that episode of The Simpsons where like Homer sells his soul for a donut and he goes to hell, and like he's like. The devil's like, so you like donuts, huh? Well, hey, you can have all of the donuts, and it's just a machine that just goes right into his face, and like that's what I feel like. Except, I'm going insane.
Like Homer. I think
I'm starting to go insane though. You guys are like,
it's more on our side where we just gobble it up and we're like more.
Yeah, my first time playing, I played till like 6 a.m. and I was messaging Dean, "This game is like fucking crack. Holy shit!
Yeah,
Martin is a fucking cocksucker."
Like the first like 10 or so hours is like amazing, and then you like, for me, I'm hitting, and I'm glad that they're difficult because if they weren't, it would kind of break the open world aspect where if I would go fuck off for like a couple hours, I would come back and they would still be the bosses would end up being easy. They're not. The main bosses, from my experience, even when I go fuck off and level a bunch, they're still hard. Like, even after Margit, I did Godric right after that, and Godric was difficult. Godric. He wasn't that hard, like, compared to Margit. I beat him in, like, 15 tries, which is kind of a bit, but it was still like, oh man, that was actually not that bad. Although
that's a really fun fight.
I beat him in one try.
I feel like, I don't know, it could have been less fucking frustrating because, like, when I went to fight Godric, like, okay, he's got the cool flamethrower hand. All right, this is not too bad. But, man, there's some, like, again, it goes back to what you were saying about the poise thing, though. There's some genuine bullshit where, like, halfway through that fight, I'm like, okay, he's going to go shift to his fire phase where he starts burning out, and he does a lot more damage in this phase. But when he shifts to his fire phase, he starts with some distance between you. And if you run up to him, and if you conserve your endurance, and if you time everything right with a heavy weapon, you can stagger him and do a shitload of damage. And because the game has this fucking problem with its poise, what did you call it again? The stagger, poise?
So, okay, it's a little... but just to be specific and clear, poise is the stat or system that governs basically whether or not your character gets interrupted when performing a different action. Posture refers to the invisible gauge that you fill up to cause an enemy to crumple down to a staggered state.
Yeah. So, like, I wail on this guy a bunch of different times, and I swear to God, like, one time I think, like, I got it perfect. I did, like, 6 attacks on him. He's going down. He doesn't go down. And there are issues where, like, this guy is jumping around. He's doing, like, weird shit where, like, he's doing that Margit thing where, like, I'm rolling or I'm blocking into another attack that he's got followed up because, like, he switches around shit. So, because there's no clear pattern with these guys. You can recognize attack patterns, but the transition to other shit is where it gets ridiculous. Because he's like, oh, he's going to throw his sword down. I know what he's going to do. It's what he's going to do right after that, which is going to fuck you up. And it's like, sometimes I would direct a fight to just be like, okay, I'm going to get that stagger in. And I literally died, like, 12 times trying to do this because, like, he would just start, like, slightly, like, at a different angle on me, and he would fuck me up horrifically.
Jake, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Were you using R1s?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of R2.
That's your problem. Okay. R1s do not do very much posture damage
at all. But that's the thing, though. I knocked him down twice with that. And I did 5 or 6 attacks with the same amount of stamina, and I did this twice, and I'm like, okay, that wasn't too hard to do, and I couldn't do it again after that. I ended up beating him, but I literally couldn't do it again. It's like,
did you have any brief windows where, let's say you were attacking him, but then, like, okay, I had to, like, dodge away and, like, wait a second for another opening, because, like, what it'll do, it's not like, it doesn't, like, statically just, like, keep going down. It sort of, like, builds itself back up. So if you wait too long after dealing a bunch of
I was actually looking at, I know exactly what you mean, but there was a moment where I was doing 6 subsequent attacks right on his ass. He did not interrupt me. I didn't roll. I didn't take a potion. I did nothing. I did 5 or 6 subsequent attacks, and it didn't happen. And I swear to God, now, like, I wasn't maybe counting right. You know, maybe it was 4 or 5. But I was like, this is the amount I did previously, and yet it didn't work here. And I'm thinking, like, with Noah's, like, fucking, like, the critical weakness thing, where it's like the hitbox is weird sometimes, I'm thinking that has something to do with that, because it is not super consistent. And I'm starting to think it's less on me and more on, like, how the game, like, has its hitboxes set up. Because I don't know what happened.
I think it would be nice in situations like those to be able to see the posture gauge. I think the answer to your issue is,
I don't know, man.
You're not gonna worry about whether it's 6 attacks or 7 attacks if you're doing jumping and charged R2s.
You know what?
Then you're gonna be like, I know I need to do, like, 2 or 3 of these, and they're done.
You know what? I would be in favor of that if it was tied to another stat. So let's say you have the ability to read the boss's health and nothing else. Let's make it more of an RPG here. How about if you have 0 intelligence, you can't even see the boss's health bar, but you can see, like, different degradations of the boss. So
what about a talisman? You can make it a talisman.
Yeah. something like that.
I think that would be acceptable.
Yeah.
You put on a talisman, lets you see this dagger.
Or a ring, it would have to be
and you're
like...
sacrificing,
a slot.
whatever you would normally get.
That's
from
fine.
that.
Yeah. That's a great idea, and I think they should... maybe it is in the game, we just haven't found it yet. Because God knows, there's a shitload of stuff in this fucking game.
There's a lot of shit in the game.
Yeah, this is one of those games... If you're not convinced on it yet, this is one of those games where you could probably... Like, these guys have, like, 150, 100 hours, and, like, they're not even, like, done with the game. Like, there's probably, like, another 100 hours they've completely messed.
There's a lot of shit, but there's no Fia's secret panties in the game.
They took it out. Those bastards! They removed the deathbed smalls.
Yeah. Although, I just got the gold mask armor, though, for my next playthrough, which is the skimpiest armor in the game. So...
really... Oh, sorry.
Jake, to kind of, like, follow up something that you were talking about earlier, I don't play a lot of open world games. I think the last one that, like, really grabbed me was Dragon's Dogma. And
yeah, it's a good game.
This, I think, is what really, like, why people like open world games, why they have an appeal, is your ability to see something and be like, that looks fucking cool. What's that about? And then the little game developer whispers in your ear, you can go.
You can walk all the way to the top of that mountain, and you actually can, Todd! How about that, Todd? Fucking Fallout 4 piece of shit Skyrim game. I know what you mean.
And there's usually something cool there. And also, I think this is doing something that From Software has struggled to do since, like, Dark Souls 1, which is create this interconnected and cohesive world. Now, you're not kind of, doing some of these cool, like, shortcuts and loop arounds that you would find in, say, Dark Souls 1.
Which I miss a lot of.
You
honestly.
You're getting those, like, in some of the primary, like, dungeons, like Stormvale and stuff like that. But, the cohesive, like, you're putting together the way this world works, like what some game journalists would call environmental storytelling, where you're seeing something and you're like, oh, okay, and you're like piecing together a picture of like how this world works based on literally just like the location of things, or like how certain architecture is shared across certain locations.
It helps that there's just a lot of it in general, so that it's like in an RPG like this, in an action game, like it would be like really welcome, but in an RPG it's more important that you have a good progression system, and that when you go to these areas, you don't feel like it's a waste of your time. So like when I'm getting stuck on Margit, I'm going out off the beaten path and I'm going to explore stuff. You don't have to do a lot of grinding in this game. I mean, you can, but when I say grinding, you're not doing the same thing over and over again. And the idea that you can actually like go and to these areas and piece together the story and then do all this stuff and not have to like kill the same enemies over and over again to like experience like this big world and this RPG is just fantastic. Like, if there's one thing they got right in this game, it's progression. Like, there's some areas where it's a little bumpy, but it's really satisfying to like get your character leveled up and like go back and do other stuff and be like, now I can do this shit.
They essentially replace grinding with exploration.
Yeah,
so
it works. It works so much better.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't have to kill the same thing. I mean, I still kind of do, because it's like, oh, I got 5,000 souls and I need 9,000 level up. Let me just go off and do a little grinding. I don't have to, though. But I'm crazy.
That's what I use the golden rune items for.
Yeah, and those help. Those supplement it. Yeah,
consume a few.
Yeah, you just get these items that give you just the level up points, like in all the other Souls games. You just consume them, and you pocket it. It's great.
It's a way of basically getting like permanent experience that you're not going to lose if you die. You
guys want to wrap it up here, or do you have anything else to say?
Sure.
I guess we could just say like our final thoughts of like where we're gonna be with the game. Personally, again, 17 hours. Noah, hold on. 17 hours in. I'm 17 hours in. I'm gonna take another break because I got to do some other shit, real life. But I'm hopeful. I'm gonna pick it up again.
More than any other Souls game before it. I'm remembering a certain video by a young Demolition D.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Where he
The Witch
is
is
talking
real.
to his friend who is getting him into the Souls series for the first time. And he says, listen, man, you know how you like defenseless women? Dark Souls is all about defenseless women. More so than ever before.
Monster Girls too.
This is the horniest Souls game
Oh my
in
god,
existence.
yeah, it is.
I swear on God.
Feet.
Miyazaki just
Hugs.
went through like the development process one day and was like looking over like some modeler and his shoulder, and it was like, what's that you're working on there? This is the shoes for the female NPCs. I'm the shoe guy. I'm putting all the shoes on them.
Yeah, Dean was
Get
telling
the fuck
me
out of my
about
office.
No shoes, only
that?
feet.
There shall not be clad women in this game.
I mean,
the
also
hugs,
just appealing
the-
to every fetish known to man.
Put your
fetish
head
in
against my
different
bosom.
ways.
Oh my god.
I had discovered like an NPC the other day, and like as I was leaving, she started to fucking retch, and I was like, Dean saw this,
Yeah.
and this made Dean horny.
Oh my god, the horny in this game is out of fucking control. Before it was
at
just
this
like
point,
Before it was
with
just
the
in the
way-
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
you had like a couple. Like,
Yeah,
like,
it was
you
just
had
in
a
the
couple-
messages
it was
usually, right?
like the level up lady.
Try
and that was
tongue,
it.
butthole. You know,
Yeah,
the spider girl. Okay, most of them you kill. I remember to see your face. It's like, oh, okay, we got the arbitrary horny out of their system, ready to go, and then you have like the level up girl, like you said. Every fucking thing in this game, though.
Like, there's so many.
But aside
It's
from
just
that, final thoughts. Rapid. What are you seeing yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years with Elden Ring? You feel like game of the year? What do you feel? Is it going to be topped?
I like
Either Dean or
I like
the book.
I like the boob.
Okay, whatever. Fuck it. Never mind. Joseph, anything
I'll
else to
buy
add?
Elden Ring 2 if it comes out. I'm not gonna watch the trailer. I'll just instantly buy it because I.
What about maybe there'll be some DLC.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, that'll be
From
next.
Software always be making that little expansion
Every game, pretty much.
content.
Except for
That'll
Sekiro,
be
right?
good.
They didn't have expansions for Sekiro.
I don't think so. I think they added like a boss rush mode, which would be cool. I'd like the ability to refight some bosses.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like have like different
I want to
difficulties.
try Margit again. 'cause, like,
Margit.
Yeah, same here.
Margit.
I want to try Marjorie. I've come
I
up
wanna
with
try
like
Margaret again.
at this point I call that boss Marjorie Taylor Greene.
All right, I guess that's it. Thank you very much for watching. That's been me, Joseph, Noah, and Dean. That's for Elden Ring. Probably the last time we'll talk about it until maybe our Game of the Year video.
Audio.
You don't have the right. All right, close your audacities. Let's.
Loathsome toe eater.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next
supposed to
time.
click record.
Hopefully. I'm out. We're all out. Fuck it.